In this week's Parashat Re'eh, the Torah begins to recount some of the halachot we've already learned. Now, Sefer Devarim is known by Hazal as the Mishneh Torah, which sort of means like a recounting of a lot of the laws that we've already learned. Now, there'll be some new ones as well, but in a certain sense, there's many halachot will be repeated with a couple of nuances, a couple of different angles we've spoken about in different years, and it's really our parasha where we begin to have the halachot. Because until now, it's really been a lot of musar, but now the halachot come one after the other, so I saw a cool idea. Rabbi Zweig gives a nice insight into the halacha of the Eved Ivri. If you open up Perek Tedvav, open up Pasuk Yud Bet, it says, if ki macher lecha achicha ha'ivri or ivriya, if you're going to have a Jewish slave, he's going to have to work for you for 6 years, and in the 7th year, you have to send him free. Now, Rashi comes along and explains to us that the specific case now of the Eved Ivri, of the Jewish slave, the Hebrew slave, is talking about a case of where you had a Jewish guy that stole, he didn't have enough money, he stole, he can't pay back what he stole, so now he gets sold into slavery, and that way, by selling him into slavery to another Jew, you're going to take that money and pay off his pay off his theft. And then he works for 60 years. Year number 7, he goes free. Now, there's another case of an Eved Ivri where he can actually sell himself if he becomes so poor and he wants to sell himself. That could also happen. But this case over here, Rashi tells us, is a case of where a guy stole, and this is to pay back his debt to the guy that he stole from. Now, the Torah goes on and says, "V'chitish lahenu hofshi me'imach," and when you're going to send him free from yourself, lo tishadahenu rekam. Do not send him away empty-handed. Rather, ha'anek ta'anik lo. You should graciously give him mitzonecha, migonecha, miekvecha, from your cattle, from your grains, from your wines. Asher berachecha Adonai Elohecha titen lo. From all that God has blessed you, you have to give over to Him and let Him leave with a lot of gifts. So comes along to Rabbi Zweig and says, what is this special halacha? In the case of an Eved Ivri, you have to give him a lot of gifts. Like, why do you have to give him it's kind of like an extra tip that you're giving him when he leaves? Because, he already got paid up front before he even started working. The guy stole, now got taken to Beit Din. Beit Din sold him. The money they sold him for paid off the actual debt. So there's no reason to be giving him gifts when he leaves. He actually worked for the money in order to pay back his debt. So why are we giving him what is ha'anek ta'anik lo? This concept of what calls ha'anaka, of an extra special gift that you give him, like, what's this all about? Ha'anek ta'anik. Why the special gift? Also, like the language of ha'anek ta'anik. What does this even mean? Normally, when you give something to somebody, you use language of like titen, to give. What does this ha'anek mean? Actually, it's a word. Rabbi Zweig says you don't find it anywhere else in the Torah. So what does it mean? So if you open up Rashi, so Rashi comes along and says ha'anek ta'anik leshon adi. So it's talking about like a jewelry, begova marita ayin, like a nice pretty jewelry that you see that you put it up high up, that the eyes can see it. It's like a nice necklace or like a crown or some type of nice jewelry that everybody sees. Earrings, something that's going to be clear to everybody that you're doing good to him, that you're giving him a gift, that you're giving him good stuff. So you want to give him something. Again, the pasuk says you give him from your sheep, give him from your wine, give him a nice present, and the language of the present is like a nice jewelry that everybody would see. So like, what's this all about? Okay, so says Rabbi Zweig, we actually can maybe understand a little bit why we give the Jewish slave such nice stuff. A halacha we don't really find in other cases. He says you can maybe understand even in today's society where we kind of do this as well. And he speaks about the ideas of giving somebody a tip. Now, who do we give a tip to? You don't tip everybody. I know that in America, I know that there's more and more people are being tipped nonstop. In Israel, a little bit less. But like, who do you give a tip to? So the most standard is you give a tip at a restaurant to someone who's serving you. Actually, a lot of these places, that is their primary parnasai is from the tip and not from what they're actually being paid. But you tip someone who serves you food, okay, that you find that. If you go to the airport and, you do like the curbside check-in, you're going to tip the guy that that gives you, that takes your luggage and puts it on, okay. You tip over there. Barbershop is common, at least in America, to tip somebody for the barbershop. But there's other people you don't tip. Like you go to a cashier in a supermarket, you're not tipping the cashier. If you don't do curbside check-in with your luggage, if you go up to the front counter, you're not giving the tip. So why? Why do we tip in those cases and not other? So Rabbi Zweig says that there's a certain loss of dignity when somebody is doing the extra effort and the extra work for you. So meaning like when someone's actually serving you the food, bringing it to the table, putting the plate in front of you, or if someone's actually picking up those heavy bags and putting it on, as opposed to you're bringing it all the way in and it's just like the last step right before you go on. That's not like the biggest deal. But when someone's actually waiting on you hand and foot, that much is much more of like showing effort. He says, there's a little bit of a loss of dignity in that kind of case, and the person could be a little bit embarrassed, or the type of work, okay, now I'm really well, maybe taking care of every little bit of needs. He says that's a care area where even in today's society, we give a tip, we give an extra thank you for someone doing a little bit more of that personal service for myself. He says that's what's going on with this Eved Ivri. This Eved Ivri is like for the last 6 years has been your personal slave, has really been working day and night, doing all those A to Z for you. And that's like, that in a certain aspect is embarrassing. So now when he goes free, what do? You give him extra gifts. You give him an extra tip to the point that Rashi says the tip is like the jewelry that he can wear when he goes out. People see, oh, look, he's been tipped. So it's true. You paid off his debt at the very beginning. That's why he became a slave in the first place. But for all that hard work that he did for you for the last 6 years, you go out of your way to make him feel much better, return his dignity to him. So I think it's a little bit of a lesson that we even see until today in today's time, that when people are really going out of their way to help us and do a little bit more for us, for physically, that's not as normal. We have to try to find a way to show them that we appreciate. Shabbat shalom.